Good morning, everyone. I'm Kat Kabira, and I'm sitting in a somewhat quiet place near my piano. And this topic that I want to talk about has been on my mind for a while. And it's not going to be the all-encompassing, but especially with what's been happening on the planet, I really feel like it's important to name it. So what do we do when we start to feel suicidal? When we feel like we don't want to be here? What do we do when we start to feel suicidal and when we don't want to be here? And what's really happening? Now, I'm not like a suicide prevention expert, but I tried to kill myself when I was 9 years old for the first time, and attempted several times after that. And you could even say anorexia and bulimia was like a slow attempt at suicide. And so with the clients that I work with, I really understand that feeling of, I don't want to be here. I've had an ex-boyfriend kill himself. I've had friends kill themselves. I've stopped people. I've caught them and I've stopped them. And even this year, several people I know have taken their own lives. And I'm not going to talk about the morals of it or anything. I'm talking to those of us who are living right now. And the shame that might happen of, oh fuck, I thought I was evolved and strong, and why is this old pattern of not wanting to be here coming up? Or what do I do to support myself? And what do I do if I can tell that a friend of mine, doesn't want to be here? So, with the people that I've caught, and it was honestly kind of luck, where I just had this intuitive feeling to call them, and they had just downed a bunch of pills and a bunch of wine, or actually just walked in on someone who had just cut themselves, or they were just about to hang themselves. And what stopped was the fact that I actually walked in and did an actual intervention where I fucking cared. I just want to reiterate, this is me more speaking as a friend and not as a therapist, where I knew that pain where it's so bad, you actually just want the pain to end. You don't actually want to leave your body or die, Remember that it is Hotel California. So there's no getting out of here, people, in the sense that you get out of this body, you're still here. You're still in some dimension. There's no escape. And those of you who might not know what I'm talking about with Hotel California, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Okay. So we're here to do something. Okay. So how are we going to stay in line with our mission? So with those people that I've caught in the moment, I've cared. I know that I do have a unique talent of just being able to step in and feel and listen to someone's energy field, and somehow I know the right words. Okay, that's what I do. Okay, that's one of the things I do. No one's taught me that. That's just what I do. Okay, so in that moment, I know that pain. So I'm not pretending. I'm fuck, I know that pain. I meet them right where they are. I really meet them where they are. And so I validate, I acknowledge how painful it is. I do not dismiss them. I'm not why? I'm fuck, I know. I really sit with them it's you're crouching down in the darkness next to them. And sometimes just that simple acknowledgement is what makes the change. Because when we're in that dark place, we're so trapped in ourselves, and we just, it's we're mostly frozen, we're contracted, and we need some sort of energy that pulls us out. And so just by if I'm in that really grounded, caring place and I'm next to someone and I'm validating and I'm listening, first it gets their energy to flow as opposed to just being frozen. And their energy can start to move out instead of being stuck in. And again, this is not like a video on like, you know, I'm being really clear that I'm speaking on a friend level, but here's the deal, people. We're in a global crisis. Anxiety has risen and suicidal rates have risen. So what do we do to take care of each other, and what do we do to take care of ourselves? This is a real question, right? And that's one of our powers. Because we're all like in this survival mode at times. I mean, right now it's prickling. You know, we suddenly, I mean, this is July, we're suddenly having like new lockdowns in certain places. I know other places are flowing, other places are like, it's fine, but you know, if you're sensitive enough, there's stuff percolating. And, you know, psychologically, we're still looking for that hope. But it's also like, how do we stay in our power and stay moving forward? And how do we stay in love and care for ourselves and one another? Now, to be really clear, we cannot dismiss how we're feeling. So I have a friend who had been a yoga teacher trainer, and he took his life. And I can imagine the pressure because, again, when I talk about my suicidal tendencies, that fucking came up last year for me. That feeling of despair and like I want it to end, that came up for me last week, right? Like I'm not going to do anything, but I'm like, shit, this feeling, whoa, what is this? And there can be a pressure if we are a coach or a therapist or teacher or healer of some sort, or even a parent, or even someone who like wants to look strong, that like we can't be vulnerable. We can't let people know that we're struggling or suffering. And I want to tell you, I've worked now with tens of thousands of people, if not more. We are all, if you're alive on this planet, you are suffering, right? One of our missions is like, what do we do with this? We cannot distract. We cannot bypass as much as we want to. There is no magic pill. What do we do? How do we dance? How do we meet? How do we meet this? How do we integrate this? So part of it is learning to reach out and say, hey, I am having a rough ass time. And we need to have community, right? And so there's a big difference. And you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can't just say this to everyone. You need someone who has a certain level of depth, that there's a certain level of ground in them in that moment. Nobody's grounded 24/7, but in that moment, they're in their ground. There's a level of capacity that maybe even be greater than yours in that moment. Because when we're like dark and contracted and stuck, like we're frozen, we're spinning, we're stuck. There's not a lot of capacity. We need someone who's like, hey, I'm surviving on this planet. I'm thriving on this planet. Like, it's okay. We can handle this. We can handle our feelings. We're not trapped. Like, we can get through this. So you need to pick a system, a nervous system that like in that moment does have that capacity. Because even without them saying anything, their energy field will create a vibration that will help you show up. And I think back in the day when I was anorexic and all sorts of things, you know, it wasn't necessarily the yoga practice itself. It was that I was going to teachers who were 20 to 30 years, if not more, my senior. They had a level of ground and compassion integrated in their system. And something in me could arrive sitting in their presence. You know, with masters I've sat with, if there was something in their system that was greater or deeper than what I had, suddenly my system could start to mirror that. So my own work with myself is, okay, how do I authentically, like, I could say so much shit, right? We all could say so much shit, but we got to be real, and it's in our system. It's in our body. It's our energy body. You cannot lie from your energy body. So it's like, how do I know without putting pressure, right? But how can I, when I'm holding space for someone else, hold that capacity? And yet being real. Like, we are getting curveballs all over the place. And so how do we meet ourselves? So one, if you're in this place, you got to reach out. right? And I know at times where it's like I've had to actively reach out every single day to people and just be like, hey, I'm just doing a little check-in. I'm letting you know how I am, so I don't get stuck in my inner spiral. Movement really helps, but it has to be movement that brings you in your body. I'm going to be honest, like that. This is not the time usually when a solo yoga practice is going to work, right? Because it's going to be something where you're too internal. It also can't be something that's too overwhelming. So when you're in this fragile state, it can't be like really loud music because your system's going to shut down. Like it has to be an environment that's inviting. I always thought it was funny how like a private Pilates class could actually get me back in my body and like moving because it was soft enough. It wasn't overwhelming. And that's up to you to decide, you know, certain dance classes, but something where it's movement and you're interacting with another human being. So it also has to be other people that you want to be around, right? So that will also be a nice trick. And also doing things that get you out of your head. And that's why things like dance can be really helpful. And, you know, especially if you're in that lockdown place, it's like that's where Zoom, I used to roll my eyes, but Zoom does help. So compared to like doing the WhatsApp messages or Telegram messages where it's like audios back and forth or texting back and forth, use like a live call so that you've got live real time. That's going to also settle your nervous system. And please don't be ashamed, because there are people, even pre-COVID. I mean, when I was like talking to various marketing people who are like, who are your people? You know, what's your brand? You know, I specialize in people who are like, fuck, I don't want to be here. And we're not talking about like this room or this country. It's like, no, planet Earth, like really not so fond. And so we have these fragmented part of our psyches, these wounds that cannot be bypassed. Like we actually have to hold space for them and listen to them, because, you know, in those times in our past when they were like, I'm overwhelmed, this is painful, I don't know what to do with this pain, I just want to get out of here. There was no one ever to listen and validate, you know, so it just ends up being these stuck pieces in our body. And, you know, this process I'm about to talk to you about is something that, you know, I would do over a longer period of time, one-on-one with someone or like in a group setting. But with a long period of time where we call it kind of like time travel. How do we, because when we look at our energy system, you know, all time and space is happening now. So we go into these wounds that are actually still alive and expressing themselves and popping up at different times. And how do we meet them, let them get heard, right? So there's a place, things start to things flow. We allow them to integrate as opposed to them being like kind of fragmented. And we can even start to rewire. So we don't walk around with a story of, for example, it sucks to be here, it's unsafe to be here. So what we can start to do, because a lot of us, it's like, okay, what do? I'm 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, and I can't go back and change my parents. And, you know, in reality, like, I think I've met one person who like had fantastic parenting. Like, look at our ancestors, right? Like, everyone improved upon the previous generation, but look at our planet right now. It's not like, you know, you're the only one who had like, you know, some strange or dysfunctional parenting. I mean, look at our planet right now, okay? So what do we do, right? So how do we time travel? So it's integrating those things for our system that we didn't get. And you work on an energetic level, so your system receives it as if it's actually happening. So you literally get to rewire your beliefs and like on an embodied level of like, oh, huh, like it is safe to be here. I do want to be here. So you can do this on an energetic level, but I just want to be clear, it's not like a one-shot wonder, right? Like a lot of us can be impatient and they're like, if I do this weekend workshop or if I do this like one session, you know, and this is our life work. The level of consciousness and embodiment doesn't stop. There's this cute little thing that we have where we're like, okay, yeah, once I do X number of years of work on myself, like, I'll be cool. I'll be at this plateau. Like, we're on this planet and there's stuff going on. So what we want to shift our attitude into is like, it's kind of like if you're in an ocean, and for those of you who surf, you know what I'm talking about. The waves don't stop. They change. You can go into channels to chill out. There are times where you have crazy wipeouts, but it's like, how do you stay engaged with surfing? And then what do you do when you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore? We want to find our way to stay engaged with life. And you can't force that. That's like a very masculine personality, which is our planet right now. How do we find that compassion and listening to meet the parts of us that are terrified, that are like, I'm out, right? Because if we're out, like the way I feel it is like parts of my body, like there's no energy. Like I've left. I literally have no energy to take action. So it's like, how do we get ourselves back into our body? And if you've watched previous videos, if you've done work with me, part of the work is pleasure. But what do you do when you're so stuck that even you try to do something that brings you pleasure and it doesn't work? So this is where I'm talking about, like, how do we meet ourselves in that ultimate freeze response and that ultimate shutdown? How do we not shame ourselves, and how do we start to reach out towards one another? Like, one of our superpowers is being able to listen to ourselves, being able to not bypass, being able to not harmfully distract, being able to reach out, being able to see one another, right? Like being able to see someone else like, hey, I can tell you're having a bit of a rough time, right? So we're here for each other, and we're here for ourselves, but we're here for each other. There's a reason why we got a global community. So I'm doing this video just to let you know you're not alone. For those of us who are highly sensitive, and you may be highly sensitive, but you don't know what you're picking up on. Like, that's the other thing I work with people, like, they're so sensitive, but I'm like seeing their system like registering all this stuff, and they have no idea, right? And those of you who've worked with me, you know what I'm talking about. And so it's like, how do you support yourself if your system's picking up all this information, right? Where's your center in all this? And where do you get to come back into your own love, your own soul power? Like, we all chose to show up right now on this planet at this time, okay? So, okay, what are we gonna do, people? What are we gonna do, okay? So, I'm saying this with love. I'm saying this a little bit of cheekiness. I'm saying this with a lot of intensity, because you can get through this. You can handle this. But it's really important when you find yourself like this to not stay frozen and stuck. You gotta reach out. You gotta reach out. Okay? And reach out to the people who can hear you. I mean, I will say, there have been times where I've reached out and I'm like, oh wow, you totally did not, wow, you didn't hear me. And sometimes people don't hear, not because they don't care, but they literally can't handle it. I mean, I had to learn that early on of like, oh, crying makes you really uncomfortable. Okay. Oh, talking about certain feelings really freaks you out. Okay, well, you're not going to be the person I go to when I'm having this going on. I'm going to go to someone else. This is where like hired professionals with an embodied depth does help. It really does. And do your homework. Just because someone's a professional and they say they've done all this stuff, like, doesn't mean that their system has that integrated. So always do, like with people who are new to work with me, I'm like, let's jump on a call. Let's see if there's resonance. Let's see if like you feel felt by me. Let me make sure I can actually hold space for you. So trust yourself, trust your system. But my big message to you today is, yeah, there's some crazy ass waves and lots of curveballs. You can handle this. Okay? You can handle this. And I'm sending you lots of love from Special Bali Lockdown. I'll speak with you soon. Bye.